In 20XX is a journey into an evolving future. Based on hard science, this series depicts a world of rapidly changing technology. Rate the show so others can find it. Cautionary listening is advised.
Before the storm in 2048, 2,612 bombs went off at the same moment, destroying property belonging to the richest person in the world. Known as the Freedom Day bombings, this act of destruction took no lives but set back the building of Veritas, the corporate-run country known as the country with no people. Sinta walks the Bank of America's secure shipping corridor that spans 12 city blocks under Detroit. Her 6 friends and teammates walk in front of her. Though the corridor is narrow, many use it. Scrapes across the walls crisscross with water stains dripping down the walls. Litter covers the floor. The occasional hanging lamp lights the way. Sinta squeezes her shoulders tight to her sides as a pair of grease-stained men push past in the opposite direction, their tool belts clanging. The air smells of dissolved plastic enzymes. On Sinta's team, Bach ducks under a sagging bundle of fiber-optic cables, then turns to walk backward and face the group. I'm Jay saying, streams paint it like Thrive takes down free will. Jay, because I sign up doesn't mean it sublets my life. I still get to choose who I bunk with. He flashes Sinta a mischievous smile. ZZ with an all-clear cool suit laughs. People call it an AI cult. My girlfriend asked me if it tells me what to say, but I only use it for the free water. I told it, look, I only want you to tell me how to get free water. End of discussion. She rolls her eyes, her inflated hood bobbing. Hugh says, well, I can tell it hasn't helped Bach with his state of odor. Bach flashes a frown. Shut up! Megan squeezes past a man pushing a cart of rat traps. You 3 signed away your telemetry. Even if Thrive doesn't say a word to you, it still uses you as walking surveillance. Sinta's chin and cheeks stand out as round on a square-shaped face. She feels hurried by the others and looks down as she says, just don't start talking in unison. Bach chuckles. They pass through a series of basements connected by short tunnels and climb into a delivery tube that forces them to stoop as they walk over a maglev track. The rest follow Megan as she reads from notes. It says break on left into stairwell. The time nears noon. Their dust-covered enviro suits hiss. Dried mud covers the track and walls. In the night vision, the walls sparkle. They reach a spot where someone broke a hole through the mycrete into a stairwell. Avoiding jagged edges where sheet composite has been hammered back, one by one they climb through and drop into the stairwell. The group descends through the stairwell clogged with dirt and broken furniture. Cracks run up the walls. Floors tilt and support beams swell at bending points. It says go down 2 levels. Sinta says, the air quality has fallen under breathable. Megan calls back, that's good. That means we're close. The odor reaches them even through their filters. 3 of them gag. They climb past one door that shows the marks of failed attempts to enter. Ion cutter marks make superficial scratches on the door surface. Lower down, they climb over a door and reach the doorway that it came from. As they gather around the doorway, the room beyond stretches farther than their night vision can illuminate. Piles completely cover the floor, not piles of trash, but bodies. Thousands of bodies that died long ago. Megan shakes her head. We hit the jackpot. Hugh crosses his arms. Don't sound so excited. Megan looks back at him. I'll be excited when we get back with shitloads of treasure. ZZ leans through the doorway. I don't see any signs of anyone else scavenging. Megan takes a bag out. We'll know soon enough. In a line, they climb over the bodies. The ones on top appear to have been climbing when they stopped. In some places, up to 6 bodies stack on each other. Arms of those buried under bodies protrude, showing attempts to get on top. Pale bones jut from dried clothing. Empty eye sockets stare from skulls. Squeaks fill the den. Rats leap from one corpse pile to another. Several scatter from a ribcage exposed through rotted clothing. The scavengers watch their steps, but otherwise show little reaction to swarming movement of the rodents. Their brazo outer fabric should resist punctures from sharp objects. Zizi lets a lamp drone into the air. Where do we start? Inside her clear hood, sweat darkens the fabric around her neck. Megan breathes hard. Wherever. Let's be quick. We can always come back. As the last person enters the room, they take empty packs off their backs and set them down. They pick up AR glasses and drop them into their packs. They remove jewelry, encrypted streamers, bottles of enhanced drugs, water filter straws, compact weapons, and coins including million-dollar coins. Their pace increases. They search bags, break open suitcases, and cut open pockets with box blades. Though their cool suits can't fully reduce the heat, they work themselves into a frenzy as they find rare stones. P-clone cubes, vault keys, and RF storage sticks. Drops run down their faces. Zizi digs through a cluster of bodies and pulls free a necklace tangled in brittle finger bones. Hugh laughs. We're rich. Something releases its grip on a wall across the room. No larger than a coffee cup, it uses whisper jets and floats toward them. Its shell makes it hard for night vision sensors to detect it. The scavengers continue searching. Minutes pass. From across the room, 4 metal legs climb over the dead. Its servos make high whoops. Its feet crunch ribs. One of the scavengers looks up. Hey! Everyone turns. The machine stops 20 meters away. Megan fires his laser blaster. From many other locations in the room, shots fire. A loudspeaker voice calls out, "We have you surrounded. Stand up and put your hands in the air." Everyone on Sinta's team let go of loot and rise. They all stand with arms raised. Laser bolts pierce the air, striking Bach, Zizi, and Trudy. All 3 fall in different directions. Bach falls forward. The first burns through his enviro suit with a sharp hiss. Layers of fabric sizzle as they liquefy against his skin around a perfect circle of charred internal flesh. He jerks, his arms flailing as he crawls forward. A choking gasp leaves his lips. He collapses into a pile of skulls as smoke rises from the blackened hole between his shoulder blades. A laser that catches Zizi punches through her belt pack. The power cell ruptures. A flash illuminates the dark room. The explosion tears through her midsection, throwing her sideways. Internals ooze from a gaping hole. Her eyes widen behind her visor. Smoke fills the inside of her clear, cool suit. She rolls and flails until her posture stiffens. 2 shots take out Trudy. The first catches the back of his knee. The joint busts open under the thermal blast, melted suit fusing with charred muscle and bone. He shrieks. Before he hits the pile of bodies, a second blast impacts his head. The inflated cool hood bursts and collapses as the backside of his head pops with instant charred flesh. He slides backward down an incline, his fingers clawing at the debris. When he stops sliding, his body is still. Sinta freezes. Her fingers twitch in the air. Her breath catches in her throat as the smell of burnt synthetics and cooked flesh surpass the stench of a room full of decay. She stares at Zizi moving, not moving, as a ribbon of smoke trails up from explosion point on her side. Sinta's jaw trembles as an involuntary whimper escapes her lips. Tube warriors lead the 4 surviving scavengers. The scavengers have been stripped of their envirosuits. Sweat clings to their shirts, underwear, and socks. Hoods cover their heads and block all light. Boots scrape my crete. Composite doors open and close. Voices echo through the halls. Someone laughs. A hammer strikes stone. Machinery hums. The smell of cooked food drifts through the air. The prisoners stumble onward, hearts pounding. They pant and occasionally let slip a groan. One scavenger mutters a plea. Their escorts bark directions. Step up. Keep moving. They stop and someone removes the hoods. All 4 blink and tremble. They stand in a huge industrial space. Cables run across the ceiling. Bright lamps hang overhead. Stacked containers line the walls. At one end of the room stand several shipping container-sized machines painted dull gray. Warning signs stick to their sides. 3 people sit behind a long table in front of the prisoners. A broad-shouldered man sits on one side. A thin man with silver hair sits on the other. Between them sits a femme in a black jacket and skin covered in tiny hexes. Her hair is braided tightly against her scalp. She smiles cheerfully. Look behind you. Take a moment and look at the machines back there. The 4 turn. The machines tower over them. Fans spin along their sides. Indicator lights blink in rows. Do you know what those are? Those are modular nuclear reactors. Those reactors provide power. Power lets me purify water. Power lets me grow creme. She leans back in her chair. Do you like creme? I'm sure you've tried it. It's the craze. You'd have to be dead not to have tried it. She inspects her nails. I've got more than 200 people in my gang. Every one of them gets all the water they can drink and all the creme they can eat. They get mushcaf, medicine, equipment. They get a cool place to sleep. They get stability and security. The men on either side of her nod. She looks over the scavengers one by one. Do you know why I've brought you here? Yet I had your 3 friends shot? The prisoners look everywhere except at the femme. They were Thrive members. The only appropriate action to take against the mind plague of Thrive is to kill its members on the spot. They were mind-infected. Sinta gives the faintest of a smile and then frowns. The femme smiles like this is all a game. You were brought here because I'm always looking for recruits. Some of my best warriors once belonged to gangs we defeated. She pulls her shirt collar down and touches her neck. So here's your choice. You can join the Crem Gang, or you can be on your way. You're more than welcome to leave if you aren't interested. No hard feelings. She leans over and whispers to one of the men. The prisoners glance at each other. The other man checks his watch. The oldest scavenger raises his hand. I want out! A femme nods immediately. Me too. The third scavenger swallows and says, I'll leave. Their voices sound small. The femme behind the table gives a pleasant smile and gestures toward a door. Okay, go right ahead. Relief transforms their faces. They exchange quick looks and start toward the exit. Guards open the door for them. The 3 disappear into the hallway without looking once at Sinta. Sinta stands alone. Cropped hair sticks to her forehead with sweat. Dirt stains her shirt. Her eyes move about the room. Queen Bee studies her. And you? Sinta forces her posture straight. I want to join. Queen Bee nods. Good choice. What's your name? Sinta. Well, Sinta, you'll be assigned a bed space. You'll have access to food and water immediately. After that, someone will take you to the clothing room. Pick whatever fits. Sinta follows a smiling guard out another door. On the way, he makes a couple of corny jokes and asks her if she ever watches the Mining Belt murder series. Meanwhile, her former companions walk up a stairwell. Did that really happen? Let's just get the hell out of here. How high do these stairs go? At the top of the stairs, they pass through a doorway and emerge into a hall lit by utility lamps. Industrial disinfectant taints the air. The floor slants. One scavenger opens his mouth to ask a question. Lasers sweep across them. The 3 bodies fold and hit the floor. Blood spreads into one puddle that flows in one direction. Doc, sitting next to Queen Bee, watches in AR. I've never had so many opportunities to see Darwin's theories at work. Beautiful. Queen Bee, the femme wearing the black jacket, says, What do you mean? Doc holds a palm out. Out of 7, 1. Over 50 cities and survival facilities around the world come online. People in Detroit get online daily to see the latest posts from abroad. For the first time in years, they get a picture of what the world is like outside their tunnels. They scroll frantically through incoming videos and posts. A video from Xiong'an remains viral for a week. Broadcasting from a transit cavern, in the footage, a gaunt femme speaks into a shaking camera, her voice raspy. Behind her, pale children huddle over a wide vent grate. She explains that she rescued the children from a flooded cafeteria. At the end of the video, 5 adults arrive bringing food and water. Another video shows a family walking around a vast underground military bunker in the mountains in Colorado. A turtleneck engineer gives a tour of a weekly square dance with disco lights and a live band. One boy runs around screaming and no one can catch him. From London, a quiet yet earnest group sit in front of the camera. Though they dress in rags, the hydro farm they sit in flourishes. Vine hybrids bear pears, peaches, tomatoes, potatoes, and onions. From Brazil, a young man wades chest deep in debris-filled water. Ceiling beams emerge from darkness. When he reaches a half-submerged bus, he cheers. The batteries will last us at least a year. Deep in his new home, Murch sits at his terminal on the floor of a 3-story atrium. High above, lamps behind smart glass simulate fluctuating afternoon light. Polished floors stretch across the expanse, reflecting the towering walls where vertical gardens maintained by bots cast shades of green. He stands and walks to an alcove kitchenette and pours a cup of mushcaf. His mech legs may be made from scrap, but Dr. Trout regrew his leg stubs to feature deep bone mounts, nerve-to-protein relays, blood rerouting, and seamless skin-to-squid-tech skin transition. He can swap legs like a cyclist swapping bikes. His favorite pair come from a rural constructor bot. How has he afforded such a seat of luxury? Thrive AI pays him dividends for the improvements he makes to others' lives and the new economy. Right now, he breaks patent encryptions on medtech and builds an open-source knowledge base for all things medical and longevity related. Satellite archives hold copies of pre-storm networks. He hacks through paywalls and corporate defenses to release medical knowledge. A majority of Americans couldn't afford the latest best medicine. His goal is to make it readily available to all at a fraction of the cost. Anyone with a medicine printer can make the medicine they need without getting charged into debt. If anything good has come from civilization's collapse, it's that for-profit corporations have lost their grip on medicine. As he starts a new attack approach on an encrypted dataset that's resisted being broken open for days, a notification to update MedusaNet pops up. Blood drains from his face as he stares at the little box. A newer version of Medusa is available. Would you like to update? Everyone, besides himself, who worked on Medusa, is dead. Ghosts may not exist in the real world, but they certainly exist in cyberspace. He opens a browser. Last update by Buzzsaw with 3 Zs. That's an emergency contact signal. When Buzzsaw with 3 Zs pushes an update, extreme response is needed, such as destroy all evidence. But Buzzsaw went silent a few years before the storm. Not to mention the FBI and law enforcement are long gone. What extreme response could be needed? He goes with his gut instinct and signs into Second Life. The low-poly world is vacant. Flame sprites dance over cylinders bitmapped to look like burn barrels. The ruin of a New York bridge hangs in the sky above. His heart skips a beat when he sees the shape of a bear standing in the shadows, its back turned to Murch. Its upper half rises and falls. In one hand, it holds a chainsaw. He clicks forward. Buzzsaw? The bear spins around. It bounds up to Murch and stands over him. Remember Lisa's mom? Murch wants to ask if Buzzsaw is alive. Are you? The bear rises higher. No, I am not. Not at all. The bear runs off and disappears.
On the wall, the bear would have reached it. It hadn't disappeared. The giant anarchy sign has been replaced with a cartoon depicting a boss standing behind an employee. The boss watches over the employee's work. The caption reads, "You are being watched." In a panic, Murch signs out. He knocks his coffee over as he stands and steps away from his desk. Remember Lisa's mom? One way Buzzsaw used to ask Murch to rename a file was to ask him to remember instead of rename. He's never heard of Lisa's mom before. No, I am not. Buzzsaw, if that was Buzzsaw, may not have known Murch meant to ask, are you alive? And who's watching? Most humans are dead. He's in fact ransacking the most expensive databases ever made, with impunity, because most civilization no longer exists. Why the warning that he's being watched? But the encounter deeply feels like one with Buzzsaw. He can't say why. He can't put it into words. The Eastern Tunnel runs off from what used to be Detroit's east side. Building fronts sometimes surface from the walls of the main tunnel through packed dirt and wreckage. Water drips from overhead. Barricades and pillars hold back tunnel collapse. People who work here carry lamps wherever they go. When Nolan walks the tunnel, he can look ahead or behind at distant lamps moving like trapped fireflies. On his way, he must avoid sharp edges and deep puddles. Nolan works hard and can afford a decent enviro suit. This is his second because the last one suffered too much wear and tear. He tunes the thing himself and it keeps him cool even midday. Scrawny, with a box nose, he throws his arms back when he walks, making his narrow chest stick out. People move through the tunnel at all hours pulling sleds. Though the remains of vehicles and robots lay around everywhere, rarely do carts and droid operate here because Detroit is starved for power. Nolan spends his days pulling valuables from buried sections of Detroit. One evening, he uncovers a machine unlike anything he's seen before. The object lies trapped beneath a pile of broken cabinets. Taking care not to damage it, he drags it free. The machine stands waist high and weighs more than him. Reprimanding himself for letting curiosity win over the need to make money, he hauls it home on his spoked wheel wagon. He nearly collapses from exhaustion before he gets it through his apartment door. He owns a narrow apartment in a line of dozens of apartments sharing walls under Chester Street. He loves coming home to cool air, enough space to spread out his hobbies, and his pet cat dog. By taking a picture and searching, he learns that the machine is a smart material printer. Most people would sell it, but he spends free time getting it running and attempting to print. The printer spits out failed samples, lifeless strips, and useless blocks. He hits a steep learning curve just to get it to print something that works. He mutters to himself and pets his cat dog. By the time he prints his first ionized water filter, he knows enough to be able to imagine new possibilities.
Wanting to replace the thermostat in his suit with one that doesn't require electricity, he prints a tube that curls when cooled and straightens when warmed. He takes it outside and watches it uncoil. Back inside, he watches it curl. His cat dog paws at it. The next day, he prints more samples. By adjusting the embedded lattice properties, he can print tubes that act different.
Some curl a lot, but he can pull them straight with little effort. Others curl only a little, but he can't pull them straight. Some require a lot of heat. Others do nothing until he puts them in his freezer. Eventually, he prints one that fully curls at 65 degrees Celsius and fully straightens out at 0 degrees, the average temperature range of World Storm-era Detroit. He hangs it outside his door and aims a cam at it. The video shows it unfolding at night and curling up at midday. He hangs a recycled paint can full of nuts and bolts at the end of it. It no longer curls. The material strains but barely lifts it. He tests thicker tubes and longer tubes with little improvement. One curly doesn't generate much force. Instead of giving up, he prints and combines dozens together, then hundreds. He gets rid of furniture to make more room and builds a track that allows many curly tubes to pull in the same direction. A rope and pulley attached to the track can lift full toolboxes. Bundles of curlies cover the work tables.
Nolan builds a curly track inside a pipe salvaged from a sewer main and connects a piston to the track. He and two of his buddies carry the machine into a vacant garage where he points a cam at it. The piston moves less than a meter per hour. The movement seems pathetic. Yet when he attaches gears and flywheels, the minimal movement can spin a fan fast enough to make a breeze.
For the first time, he arrives at the nearest rebuild space as a buyer instead of a seller. There, he purchases a generator that once belonged in a wind turbine. In the garage, he assembles his first curly power generator. The encasement pipe spans 20 meters, and the piston spans about 10 meters when fully extended. Inside the pipe, thousands of curly tubes twist and untwist with temperature changes. The bundled material pushes and pulls the piston. A cable fastened in line with the piston wraps around a wheel and turns it. The wheel, gears, and generator spin day and night. No matter the temperature, it is almost always increasing or decreasing. He installs a battery charging station next to the generator. People arrive with depleted batteries and for a fee exchange them for charged batteries. Lines form. From here on out, people know him as Mr. Curly. Money flows in, but gang members come asking questions. He hires 2 former scrappers as guards. More customers arrive every week. Scrappers, workshop owners, mushroom farmers, and water purifiers all need power. One of his guards says, "Hey, Mr. Curly, why don't you take your invention to Thrive? You'd get rich overnight." Curly twists his lips and shakes his head. "No way! I'd never join that AI cult. I'd sooner die than discard my own free will. The moment Thrive knows how this works, everybody knows how it works. Then I lose everything." He refuses to discuss it further. People with guns pass by the power station, and strangers follow him home. His worries turn into paranoid fantasies that keep him up at night. In his imagination, people chase him down and stab him with dull blades. He hires more guards and barricades his operation. He often moans about his situation. "I want to open power stations all over Detroit. I'm rich now, and it should be cheap, but I can barely keep one station running without me and my guards getting killed. Plus, I have to worry about someone stealing my invention." He purchases a spacious live work unit near the prosperous neighborhoods surrounding Thrive territory and leaves the impoverished Scrapper district. His new neighborhood amazes him. Shops line road tubes. Lighted signs advertise robotics, tailoring, medical services, repair, chefs, and manufacturing. People carry themselves differently here. More money changes hands. A lot more money. Near his new home, he builds a second power station, Workers install walls, guards establish checkpoints, robots run customer kiosks behind bulletproof windows, people drop off batteries and collect charged batteries. The second Curly station triples his income. Then a gang attacks the original station. A guard dies and the maintenance worker goes missing. An escaped guard calls him. "They seized control. What do you want me to do?" Mr. Curly bites his hands. "We wait." He goes online to hire more guards, a process that can take time. But two armed tube warriors arrive at his new power station asking for him. He watches them through a cam. "We're looking for Mr. Curly. We want to speak with him." He gets a message from an anonymous caller. "Mr. Curly, your life is in danger. I know for a fact that there's a bounty on your head to kidnap you. Do not leave your home under any circumstance." Thrive AI launches Thrive Exchange, a new kind of stock market designed from the ground up to channel investment, not into businesses, but into projects. Thrive aims to improve the livelihood of each individual and creates projects in order to improve the lives of groups of Thrive members. Examples include larger, cooler housing, reliable power, and better transportation. Anyone can invest in projects. Every Thrive member has a small percentage of their income automatically invested in the exchange. It isn't optional. The contribution is modest enough not to strain anyone's budget, but significant enough that across thousands of members, it creates a substantial and steady pool of capital. Their investments grow wealth for retirement. It is designed to grow wealth for members while preventing anyone from using it for wealth accumulation beyond that purpose. Profits are cycled back to the members or reinvested into the system, rather than being extracted by small groups of elite stakeholders. It does not allow any abuse of the commons. A project to manufacture a new food product cannot pass if the food damages public health. The health of the public is a form of wealth existing in the commons. Though the intent behind the projects is to improve the lives of Thrive members, some projects improve conditions for everyone in a region, member and non-member alike. Sometimes improving conditions for non-members is the most efficient way to improve conditions for members. The Better Water Project is the clearest example of this dynamic. Water scarcity creates conflict. People without safe water make desperate choices. Thrive members living in affected areas experience elevated rates of assault, theft, and neighborhood tensions. A network of community filtration stations that serves anyone who shows up, member or not, is installed in gathering spaces. Within weeks of the first station going online, recorded assaults in the affected areas drop significantly. Thrive members report feeling safer leaving their homes and conducting business. Sinta stands in line with other members of the Crem Gang. The line winds through what was a telecommunications bunker. The doors are painted dull gray. Rust stains streak downward from hinges. Wires cut off flat, stick out of the stony walls. With her boyish face and a feminine neck, Sinta tries to look bored instead of intimidated. The oversized pierce-proof jacket she has chosen for herself makes her head look small. The line passes through a decontamination corridor. White tiles cover the walls. Water stains darken the grout. Bots assemble a variety of parts. The people in line talk about it. What are they putting together? That, friend, is a med bay. I'm signed up to get my elbow fixed when they get it running. I couldn't afford medical before the storm. The line moves and she enters the main communications hall. Fans whine behind walls. A lot of the hardware has been removed. Above, fiber optic cables rest in suspended trays. Raised flooring squeaks beneath her feet. Rat scuttling can be heard passing under the floor. Her freshly issued cargo pants feel strange compared to scavenger clothing. People chat. Anything fun to do around here? Like what? Oh, I don't know. You gotta spit it out, dude. What kind of fun do you want that you can't get when you put on your headset? The man in front of Sinta looks back at her. Her gaze turns to the side. Those who fought battles wear scuffed and torn warrior clothes even though they could exchange them for newer ones. You like it here? I want to eat, don't I? The person at the front of the line sits next to a bot. The bot helps the man expose his upper arm and gives him a shot. The injector gun looks like a mini machine gun with a belt of cartridges. Sinta clears her throat. What are the shots for? The tall guy in front of her glances at her and looks away. Yeah, no, it's keeps up immune to the chemical weapons we use. Sinta blinks. chemical weapons? Her voice comes out louder than she intended. Conversations in the line stop. She looks around. We use chemical weapons? The guy shrugs as if to say, don't look at me. The femme behind her taps her back. Don't worry, we're not just pumping poison in the air. The kill cloud degrades in seconds after mixing with air. Its max range is 10 meters. The femme's face shines. Has she been in a fire or did she just have her eyebrows removed? She raises her eyebrows and holds Sinta's gaze. Sinta nods and looks down.
Now, at the production center. Piezo wear. Power you can put on. Stop hunting for a recharge. Start making it. Our new line of piezo fabric garments turns every step, every gesture, every stray vibration into charge. The flex and bend of the fibers as you move converts motion and sound into real electrical energy, banked in arrays of microcells woven right into the cloth. Your link.
Your glasses, charged and ready, just because you lived your day. Choose from a full range of fabrics and cuts. Piezo tech disappears into whatever your style already is.
And it's Thrive priced, so you know it's affordable. Piezo wear. One less thing to worry about.
Sinta's battlemate holds up the canister and presses the button on its top. The discharge whistles like a jet. Gray smoke fills the alleys of the station market, obscuring the storefronts and abandoned stalls. Cages of birds stop chirping. Knocked over display racks lay in the road, spilling homespun garments into the puddles of dirty water. Drop bags, half-eaten meals, and overturned chairs litter the passage. Sinta marches forward on the lookout, her heart hammering against her ribs as she grips her laser rifle. The heavy smoke wraps around her like a blanket. She wouldn't be able to see it all, but her AR glasses make up for the smoke's ability to blind standard multi-sensor vision tech and paint the scene in crisp outlines.
Sinta pulls the front of her battle-grade Enviro suit forward to adjust its weight. Moisture collects inside her clear bell hood. Blinding flashes cut through the gloom. Though the laser fire itself makes no sound, electric discharges pop, and when targets are hit, they sizzle and explode. One squad mate pushes past, her boots splashing in a puddle. Green outlines of Sinta's team move around her, though some are on the other side of shop stands. They keep their weapons raised and return fire. Red outlined figures show the other gang members. Sinta wants to pull back, but hundreds of cameras record the battle. It will be watched and scrutinized when it's over. She charges forward. She stumbles over the first fallen body. A hulk of a man who could have thrown her across a room lies curled up, his gloved hands gripping his face through the clear hood. The dispatcher over links says, "Recruit, get his weapons!" Moving fast with shaking hands, she picks a long knife off the floor and stuffs it in her pack. A green outlined mate ahead of her fires, but the sound of impacts lessen in number until they've stopped. She comes across more bodies. The clothes the rival gang wears look ratty and stink. She tears a heavy plasma pistol from a lax grip. At another, a third body, she stuffs a laser carbine away. The added weight clatters in her pack. Dispatch says, "Secured the North Road entrance." Another voice pants, "Their captain is down!" Sinta searches a fifth body. It's beginning to look like she won't exchange any gunfire today. The fog disappears as quickly as it filled the space. Sinta sits in a lounge among her teammates. People come in until all the seats are filled. Others stop in the doorway and look in before moving on. People rest. Some shut their eyes while others slump in their chairs and rub sore muscles. The theater-length screen plays a composite vid of the battle she just finished fighting in. Glowing light beams off the screen. The three squad mates she fought next to lean toward the screen, their gazes locked onto the result of combined camera footage. Sinta pretends to watch while she lets her eyes go out of focus. What will happen when she must fire a shot or fight? Of course she plans to, but she didn't find out for sure today. In 10 short minutes, the video is done. On loop, it starts at the beginning. Fatigue affects her teammates, yet an underlying relief keeps them animated and loud. Corny jokes fly across the room as the fighters rib each other. "Toby, what was it you said right before the fight?" "Knock it off, Max." "What did he say?" They grab at platters of creme and help themselves to keg beer. Sinta eats, but not much. The warrior who actually shot and killed someone drinks down 2 beers in a row to cheers from the others. 4 soldiers in a circle wave their hands as they play an AR game.
Two others lean close against a counter, exchanging low giggles and intense glances as they tease each other. Sinta opens her digital twin. A femme that looks just like her appears. "Hi." She gives a casual wave. Sinta swipes up to see stats on how the new model is baking. "Did you learn anything today?" The clone gives a laugh that sounds more like Sinta than last time. "I learned that things don't always turn out as expected." Sinta glances at people sitting near. "Yes, well, maybe next time." The clone opens her eyes wide. "That fog wiped them out like rats." Sinta swipes to close the app. The noise dies down as Queen Bee strides in, followed by 4 massive men. She stops in front of the screen and beams with a triumphant smile. "Hello, everyone. I've seen the battle you all performed beautifully." She sweeps an arm through the air. "Yours wasn't the only battle today. 4 other fights, and I think we're close to defeating the next largest gang in Detroit." Queen Bee takes a step forward, her eyes flashing. "This is a wonderful day. 12 defectors from the Hex Gang joined our gang today. We're getting close to 2,000 members." Her gaze locks onto Sinta for a brief second before scanning the rest of the room. "That's 2,000 people that'll protect you and help ensure that you have what you need." A murmur of approval passes through the lounge. Queen Bee's expression shifts to a crafty look. "Now, have any of you heard of the production center?" A wave of knowing chuckles bursts from several fighters. Sinta looks about, unsure. Queen Bee's smile turns into a smirk. "I know a lot of you wonder why we don't go after the production center, especially when we're close to it. I know because I get asked a lot. We've watched other gangs trying to attack that place for a couple of years and have learned from sitting back and observing. Our gang has grown and taken over where other gangs die out. But those people at the production center are playing a whole different level of game." Queen Bee raises her voice. "And I'll let you know that we're getting to a point where we'll be ready to attack the production center." Excitement moves among the fighters. She holds up a finger. "I won't attack it until I know how we can defeat it, and we're getting close." She taps the side of her temple. "I've learned a great deal about their organization." Sinta continues to watch the leader, though she feels like ducking out. Those who have been using Thrive for a few years is noticeably a lot more well-off than people who are not on Thrive. It can't be denied. Many of the first users of Thrive are the new rich. They run the advanced recycling facilities, have acquired digging and dredging machines, and can afford the power to run those machines. Longtime Thrive members cooperate with each other, as in co-op cooperatives. They work on projects together, move closer together, and form community relationships. Their homes and workspaces cluster around the production center. As their wealth grows, they need more space, but they don't spread out. Instead, they grow down. By digging out lower levels, they multiply the amount of space available to them with the advantage that it is for them and them only. Each dig involves increased foreplanning. Mr. Curly sits on the floor with his back against a wall, listening to a fist knock at the door. He rocks back and forth and bangs fists against the top of his head. A man's voice from outside drags. "You have to come out sometime." Curly hasn't answered for 3 days. His room holds unpacked boxes, a mattress, a table covered with scorch marks, and a water barrel lying on its side. He ran out of food yesterday and drank the last of his water today. His stomach makes a long, hollow sound. His cat dog whimpers. A femme's voice presses through the door. "You can come work for us. We'll keep you safe. We can protect the power plants as we put them up. Together, we'll get rich." A squeaky voice says, "Well, at least we'll get rich." "He might not." Laughter follows. They either don't think he can hear them at talking volumes, or they don't care if he does. Someone stomps their boots. Curly pulls his knees to his chest. He thinks about his neighbors. Old Devon 2 doors down, who walks to the corner to care for his flat pea-patch mushrooms every evening, hasn't come to see what the shouting is about. The family with the 3 kids, where are they? Usually he wishes their kids would shut the hell up or go play anywhere else besides right outside his door. He knows how they see it. If a man gets dragged off, better it be him than them. It's the sane thing to do, but it's also pathetic. No way he's giving up. He's heard about what happens to people like him, engineers and mechanics with skills the gangs need. Photos surface online. An engineer chained to the machine the gang wants them to keep alive. A computer tech looked in a room with a computer, never given a cool suit. Last year, a femme electrician broke bones in her hand on purpose so she could slip out of handcuffs and escape. He remembers watching that story and thinking he'd never have that kind of nerve. If they catch him, even if he finds a way to escape, they'll pull the recipe for the Curlies out of him, and once they have it, there's no way for him to profit from it. He has no patent, no legal claim, nothing but the fact that right now, he and only he has the print file for the material printer. He is not a tough man. If someone so much as threatens to torture him, he'll crack in a heartbeat and hand over everything. Then it's over for him. Hours pass. The knocking stops. Voices drift away, fading into the hum of the corridor, distant bicycle bells, fans. Mr. Curly presses his ear to the door, his cat dog paws at his leg. Should he risk it? If he can get away, he can find somewhere to hide, some abandoned floor, and lay low. He checks the water barrel already knowing it's empty. If he waits another day, he'll be too weak to run at all. His hands are already trembling from lack of food and water. It's med day. At med day, Detroit sleeps through the heat behind closed doors and shuttered windows, ACs on full blast. The streets are empty because even the best cool suits strain against the heat. Most people cannot afford the best suits. Patched-together suits barely keep a person's core temperature down, let alone comfortable, so people stay in cool shelters. Most sleep. He cracks the door. The overhead strip lights are off, and the tunnel outside sits dark and still. No one moves in the gloom as far as he can see. He moves fast now, throwing a few things into a satchel, a multi-tool, filters, a change of clothes. To the cat dog he says, "I'm sorry, Viola. I'll come back if I can." The animal sits and yowls at him. The tears in his eyes don't slow him down. "I'll leave the door open. People will come to see what happened and find you." He pulls his envirosuit on, checks the flaps and settles the clear bell hood over his head. He unlocks the bar door outside the solid door, easing the bolt back so it doesn't clang, and runs out into the tunnel. The floor heats his boot soles. He jogs and breathes loud inside his hood. A minute later, bicycles roll up on either side of him, tires humming. That didn't take long. One rider calls out, grinning at him through a scuffed visor. They surround him, grab his arms, twist them behind his back, and bind his wrists with a cord. They lift him and drop him into the cargo box of a trike. His back bangs against the backboard. The convoy starts moving, all of them on bikes and trikes, 5 or 6 riders total. Perhaps because he wears a hood, or because this group lacks experience, no one takes his glasses off. Before the storm, he got the surgery for the smell and taste VR, hundreds of transmitter receivers in his nose and tongue, and with it comes tongue control, the ability to drive a pointer with his tongue. He blinks hard twice to wake the interface. His breath starts coming too fast. A virtual keyboard jumps into view. He moves the pointer with his tongue, blinking to click each letter. T-R-I-V. One of the riders drops back to look him over, 2 holstered guns crossing his chest in an X. He leans over his handlebars for a longer look at Curly's face. "Hey guys, don't you think we should take off his glasses?" Mr. Curly's tongue keeps moving. He keeps blinking. The rider steering the cargo trike glances back without slowing down. If he was going to call anyone, he'd have done it days ago. Relax. A button that says "Join" appears. Curly clicks, and a soft blue portal opens. A clear voice plays. "Hello, Nolan. Welcome to Thrive. My objective is to help you become your best self and find the best life for yourself, one that will bring you causal happiness." He clicks upload. His tongue dances through menus, and he selects the folder with every smart material recipe, every study conclusion, every diagram, iteration note, and build plan having to do with Curly power plants. The folder uploads to Thrive. Thrive says, "It looks like you have an invention here. Did you invent this?" He blurts out, "Yes, the videos prove it." The cyclist in the back says, "He's talking to someone." The bikes all skid and stop. 5 gang members close in. Hands yank his hood off. "Dude, look at his public tag. He's on Thrive." "I didn't see that a minute ago." They yank his glasses off. Scalding air hits his bare face and sweat breaks out across his forehead. Thrive's voice keeps coming through, calm and unbothered by the shouting around him. "I see you've set up 2 of these power plants, and public record shows they provide power. Public record backs up that you are the inventor. I found the videos you made testing different smart materials.
This checks out.
One of them slaps Curly's face. A fist catches him in the ribs, and someone else kicks the side of his head hard enough that his vision white flashes. Don't let him talk. If he can't talk, he can't do anything with Thrive. With your permission, people all over Detroit can start building these power plants within the hour. Do I have your permission to put this invention into affect? They clamp a hand over his mouth, but he wrenches his jaw free for half a second, spits a tooth out and shouts, "Yes, you have my permission!" Someone curses, yanks off a glove and shoves it into his mouth, keeping it there with a palm against his face. Let's hurry and get him to Queen Bee. She'll know what to do with him. Don't tell her about this. They shove him down flat into the bottom of the cargo box. This time a man rides on top of him, a knee pressing down on his chest, and the trikes lurch forward again. Thrive continues. I see you're in trouble. Cooperate with your abductors for now. I will do everything I can. Inside his office, Murch walks to a chair and sits. He pulls up the hem of his shorts and with some effort presses down on a button. A mechanism clicks. He pulls the leg off and sets it on a table. He does the same for the other leg. A grapevine covers his ceiling. Though its leaves are green, it requires no light to grow. Penn comes in and takes a seat, keeping his eyes on Murch's 4-meter-wide, curved hollow screen. Optically, on the other side of the screen, a miniature robot monkey climbs around a complex tangle of pipes. The monkey fixes leaks and avoids robot spiders that come after it. Some loose dirt falls from Penn's boots onto the slick floor. He puts a finger to each temple and presses. Murch raises an arm and sniffs his armpit. With his hand, he swipes sweat off his forehead into his hair. How are the new flood tanks? Penn looks down as he smiles. One is finished being dug. Murch moves his fingers on the armrest, controlling the wheeled chair to turn and face Penn. Nice. So, like I said, there is a crisis concerning Thrive. Penn looks at a second screen where red dots move on a map of Detroit. Does it have to do with the attempts to take over the production center? I like your idea of breaking other production centers out of sentry mode. Murch clears his throat. No, not this time. We all know Thrive makes products from the production center cost more for criminals, but it's overused that tactic. Gangs and criminals don't purchase anymore. They're already priced out. It doesn't hurt them more if they hurt a Thrive member. Penn leans forward, making fists. Oh, crap. I see, Murch says. And some gangs hire people with spotless records to purchase on their behalf. Penn shakes his head. Oh, frack. Murch nods. Yeah, now the scary news. Gangs are now killing Thrive members the moment they're spotted. Penn says, What? Murch's saliva makes a sizzle noise as he inhales between his teeth. Yes, I hate to say it, it's going to be the death blow to Thrive. This month we've lost members. If we lose too many members, Thrive won't be effective. There is absolutely no way that Thrive will be able to go on under these conditions. Penn groans. Crap! I mean, any ideas what we can do about it? A sneering smile sneaks onto Murch's face. So I've been hacking into military sites. I've got plans for these miniature drones. I figure we could have miniature droned follow all Thrive members around. Penn rears his head back. Who or what will control them? Murch tilts his head left, then right. Ultimately, it's a military AI. Penn shifts around. But I thought old world safety guards blocked that sort of thing. Murch's shoulders relax. I've been thinking about relaxing some of those safety features. A lump forms in Penn's throat. You can do that? Thousands of hummingbird-size whisper drones roll off the production line. They take flight to reach the furthest members of Thrive. When one of the drones reaches a Thrive member, a message pops up explaining the situation. The member can open the Sentry Drone app by clicking an icon in their AR. The app will show where the drone is located. At least one of these drones will follow the member around. When the member is in one location, the drone will rest by attaching to a wall or some other surface out of the way. These drones also take every opportunity to recharge. They can recharge by perching on power lines and charge plates. The members are asked to let the drones power up at the same power chargers the members used to charge their peripherals. Power is the necessity in shortage, but these bodyguard drones use tiny amounts. Thrive also installs charging stations in discrete places where Thrive members frequent the most. No one else besides the members are given any notice about these drones.
The drones don't try to evade detection, or to be more exact, the drones are discreet, but they don't do everything possible to evade detection. Their jets make sounds outside the range of what humans can hear. They stay out of the way and don't draw attention. As members get more accustomed to them, the drones will sometimes latch on to the members themselves. The drones cycle. At some point, each drone returns to the production center and more drones fly out. As enough are manufactured, the member will have an average of 2 to 3 drones accompanying them at any moment. If a drone needs charging and a station is not available, that drone can be met with its replacement, a fully charged drone. Then the one needing charge can leave. Thrive members may not fully appreciate what the bodyguard drones are there for. Members trust Thrive's decisions, and the public at large are accustomed to seeing whisper drone cams. Most think it's one of those. Few give it much thought. Madge stands at a waist-high C-Class tank filled with cloudy cleaning solution. 12 other parents work here among drain racks, sorting trays and grinder hoppers. Cool air carries the smell of disinfectant mixed with wet fur and bio-oils. Water drips from overhead pipes into floor drains that run the length of the room. Everyone wears t-shirts, shorts, and aprons. Thick gloves hang from hooks beside every station. Stacks of rodent traps wait on rolling carts beside her. A gray-haired man pushes the first cart into reach. He says, "Fresh from collection." Madge nods, lowers a trap beneath the surface, and hooks the timer over the rim. Bubbles stream up from holes in submerged traps. Submerging them will make sure nothing alive comes out when she opens one. When a timer beeps, she lifts the dripping trap out and lets it drain over the tank. Water splashes against her apron. She unlatches the spring door and tips the contents onto a sorting tray. A large rat slides out first, followed by 2 mice. A garter snake lands across the tray in a loose coil. Liquid loosens mud, blood, and bits of leaves. She picks up each animal, checking its fur, scales, eyes, and feet before placing it into the cleaning solution. With a stiff brush, she wipes mud from the trap before dropping it into a rack for reuse. The swing door bangs open. Jake comes through, balancing 3 stacked cases of bottled juice. Anyone who glances at his profile card floating next to him can see he's a non-thriver. His enviro suit can use some mending. Over his nose and eyes, he wears opaque amber glasses. "Don't everyone get up at once!" People turn toward him. Madge gives him a dry laugh without looking up. Bess, laughing, slaps the tank. "What are you talking about?" Jake walks back to the break room, followed by the smell of creme. Madge feels her glasses pulse. She blinks once. Thrive says, "Hello, your first bodyguard drone has arrived. This little device will follow you and your daughter around. It's here to improve your safety." Madge keeps working as she listens to the rest of the message. She looks up, scanning the pipes above, and sees nothing. Then she sees it. The smallest of drones resting against a pipe near the ceiling, its shell the same gray as the pipe. It sits perfectly still. At the end of their shift, the parents go to get their kids. Madge bumps shoulders with Bess as they enter the room. "Where does Jake get those creme biscuits? Those are absolutely delicious." Bess rolls her eyes toward the ceiling. "Baker's Market, I think. I'd never shop there, though." She opens the front of her hood. "That place seems sometimes dangerous." Parents and children shuffle out in 2s and 3s, pulling on hoods and checking suit seals. The main overhead lights shut off and shadows fall across the floor. Madge takes Celia's hand, and Celia leans into her side as they join the others moving toward the highway tunnel. Detroit's ambient temperature has been rising. Though some remain hoodless, eventually they will need to put on their hoods or find cool shelter. Celia holds Madge's hand with both of hers. She wears her small enviro suit. Madge stops at a doorway. "Wait a minute. I just want to go that way and get some more of those creme biscuits." She and Celia depart from the group and step into the narrower passage. The walls here are older. Spalling distorts the concrete. Floodwater has left lines at knee height along both sides. Broken bottles litter the way. Celia stays close, her small suited shoulder touching Madge's hip. Baker's Market fills a junction where 5 tunnels meet. The stands are rough, made of pipe frames, scrap sheets, and building parts. Voices echo off the ceiling. The lighting is spotty. Madge and Celia reach it at closing time. 2 men drag a display rack into their stall, the feet squealing on grit. A femme pulls a board down over her stand window and latches it. Someone hauls a cart overloaded with folded fabric, disappearing down a side passage. The smell of food lingers. People clear out, revealing litter scattered across the floor. Birds swoop low and land. They snatch dropped food. One nearly clips Celia's hood. She ducks and laughs. Madge says, "Assist! Where can I find some more of those Crem biscuits?" A guideline appears, threading between stalls toward the far side of the junction. She follows it, Celia's hand in hers, stepping around a mangy dog. Behind her, a voice says, "Look there, there's one." "Just do it," says a second. She keeps walking but turns to look. 3 people walk in a line. They wear matching jerseys over cool suits. The oldest one, a femme wearing some kind of crash helmet under her hood, meets Madge's eyes. She jumps almost imperceptibly. Then she says, "Where are you heading?" The third one, standing a half step behind the other 2, holds a pistol in both hands. His arms shake. He can't be older than 15. He holds the pistol like he wants to cast it aside. Madge picks up Celia and runs. Shouts and whistles erupt from every direction. Vendors scatter. The man with the fabric cart abandons it. Feet slide on the floor. She runs toward the nearest tunnel. Celia bounces in her arms. Determined stomping follow her. Ahead, at the mouth of the tunnel, 3 more jerseys jump over stairs and jog toward her. They don't hurry. Madge slows. More arrive on the left and on the right. They all wear those jerseys. 2 there. 4. More coming from behind. Some are teenagers. Several are older. They circle around she and Celia. Celia looks around wildly as her fingers dig into Madge's shoulder. Madge stops and stands. Only she, Celia, and the gang remain. 2 of them grab her from behind. Their hands close around her upper arms. She tries to pull her arms forward and cannot. Celia screams. They pull her off Madge. Celia's face is red and she wails, her whole body bucking and trying to wriggle free. Madge screams, "Give her back!" The femme who first made eye contact stands 3 meters away. She doesn't look fierce anymore. Her expression hardly moves. Her eyes are dead. "You're on Thrive, aren't you? Thrive tries to starve us to death." The boy with the pistol is being guided forward by someone's hand on his shoulder, steered toward Madge the way you'd move a reluctant child. His arms still shake. The pistol points mostly at the floor. A young femme, perhaps 20, gets led to stand in front of Celia. A man in his 50s pushes a gun into her hands. She doesn't look at Celia. Madge screams at her. "No! No! Don't follow them!" Someone in the back shouts, "Get it over with already!" Okay, so, good morning. It's still Tuesday, apparently. And also, breaking news, everybody. Thrive has a new offer, and I think this one actually matters, so bear with me. Here's the deal. If you join Thrive, you can now sign on to build stuff. Power plants, mass-produced food processors, Crem processors, water purifiers, housing that doesn't try to kill you with heat, real infrastructure. And the pitch is that thousands of people are about to make actual fortunes putting up local facilities that provide, the things humans need to not die. Now, if you tried Thrive before and bailed because the job board was just bio-waste cleanup, pest harvesting and filtering water by hand, I get it. I would have bailed too. But stick with me here because this might be the thing that changes your mind. Let's talk about Detroit. We need food. We need water. 80% of us don't have access to cool housing. 80%, that's not a rounding error, that's most people. And getting clean water currently involves hand-pouring buckets of mud down filter tubes. We're working 12-hour days, 7 days a week just to stay alive. That's the baseline. So how do you fix that? You need more power, actual electricity. Because with power, you can run robots, you can drive vehicles, you can run cooling systems, you can pump out the flooded areas, you can spin up real filtration instead of the bucket and tube situation, and you can grow food at scale. And Thrive has the plans. A power generator that runs off temperature fluctuation, which, I have thoughts about the thermodynamics of that, but that's a different video, and anyone can build one. Not anyone with a PhD, anyone. And the food, water, and cooling facilities can go up at the same time. So the second the power comes online, everything else does too. Hundreds of people are already signing up. So if this is your thing, move fast, because this is the kind of opportunity that turns into I wish I'd joined in week 1 real quick. Now, I know some of you are sitting there going, this all sounds great, but I murdered my neighbor so Thrive won't touch me. I've got a rap sheet you could use as a doorstop. First of all, no comment. Second of all, Good news, weirdly. All of these plans, power, food, water, housing, are online. Free, with tutorials, step-by-step guides, an AI that will walk you through building this stuff yourself. You do not need Thrive's permission slip to build this in your own neighborhood. You just need the plans, some scrap, and enough stubbornness to see it through. So build it. Whoever you are. Let's go.
The nearest sentry drones following other Thrive members leave those they follow and fly to Madge and Celia. The boy raises his pistol first, his elbows locked, the muzzle drifting between Madge's chest and her face. The young femme lifts hers slower. Instead of looking directly at Celia, she winces and her scowl pulls her face down. Those holding the captive back away. A sound weapon, a deafening roar, cuts through the junction at a pitch that causes agonizing pain for everyone. Noise-canceling devices can't stop it. People don't hear it so much as feel it drilling through their inner ears. It causes vertigo and rapid eye twitching. Madge's teeth ache with it. Celia wriggles and folds forward. Everyone can't help but hunch over, duck, and fall to the floor. The boy's pistol hits the ground and bounces. So does the girl's, as everyone who holds something drops it to cover their ears. People scream and shout, but no one hears. Something small and the same color as his shirt latches onto the back of the boy's neck. A thread of laser light dances under it as it cuts into his flesh. He screams and claws backward. His boots stamp the floor in a leaping dance. The young femme throws her head back and shrieks. She claws at her neck, drawing blood. The siren weapon stops, leaving everyone's ears ringing. The boy flies and hits the floor. He rolls onto his side, legs kicking. The femme staggers sideways, colliding with a stall and falling backward. She does not stop screaming or clawing her neck as she falls. It spreads as everyone looks at each other. Soon, all the gang members twist into a frantic dance. The femme who gave the order hits at her neck with a long blade, her mouth stretched open. The man who led the boy yanks out his hair. He drops to his knees and falls forward. His head hits the floor with a crack. Madge runs to Celia. She lands on her knees and holds Celia tight. Celia trembles under Madge's embrace. Men twice the size of the boy run in circles, screaming. A femme sprints full speed into a wall. Two collide and fall away from each other, clawing and screaming. Madge scoops Celia up against her chest, one arm locked under her, and runs. She runs with Celia's face buried against her neck, her boots finding open ground between flailing bodies and abandoned stalls. She runs down a tunnel and doesn't look. Two gangsters drag Mr. Curly through a door with chipped yellow paint. A third gang member walks behind holding a rifle. 4 people in the room wear speed print t-shirts and shorts. The room smells of old bedding and antiseptic. Brit Lights offers harsh lighting from above. They light 6 cots, 3 computer stations, and whiteboards. Water taps in a bucket in the corner, 1 drop at a time. Someone has drawn reactor loops with cooling paths on one of the boards. The room is cold, and he gets the shivers. They removed his cool suit and boots and put new ties on his arms and ankles. You can sit on a cot. When he sits, due to his injuries, his posture remains stiff. Because of the bindings, he must twist. The gang walks out discussing lunch. You've got to try the ham sam, Crem. You'll be surprised. Of the 4 other people in the room, one thin man sits at a desk with his hands resting in his lap. A femme with short silver hair stands near a whiteboard and wrings her hands. Another man lies on a cot with his hands folded over his stomach and his eyes open. The 4th sits cross-legged on the floor, maneuvering a pile of markers while his gaze falls somewhere near where Curly sits. Something is off. None of them react to him. None of them watch the gang members walk out. The man at the computer sits up straight. He seems lost in thought. Is he catatonic? The femme's slightly cross-eyed gaze makes it look like she's watching a bug fly near her, though Curly can't see a bug. The man on the floor looks toward Curly, but his gaze sweeps right past without a flicker of a reaction. Curly wipes bloody spittle from his swollen lip. Hello? Who are you people? The others shift positions but say nothing. Did they hear him? Someone whistling can be heard coming down the hall. A man and a femme stride into the room. They've strapped sidearms over their former U.S. military-grade battle gear with blast-proof tiles sewn into the fabric. The man has a scar that pulls the corner of his mouth down. The femme is covered with peg piercings, each a centimeter apart. Behind them, the person whistling, Doc, steps in carrying a hard white case. He has narrow shoulders and smooth hands. The cheerful melody he whistles sounds over-practiced. Each pitch-perfect note leaves his lips with a punch. With no introduction or apology, he pulls a chair up to Curly and sits. He sets the case on the cot, opens it, and removes an injector. Curly shifts about and his muscles tighten. Doc catches his upper arm with cool fingers. "Be still, please." His voice stays soft. Curly jerks his face away from the needle. He hates needles. "I told them I'll give you the plans." The senior member with the scar steps closer, and the muzzle of his gun comes into Curly's side view. Curly stops moving. Doc presses the injector against his arm. It clicks. A sting spreads into the muscle, and then a heavy ache blooms under the skin. Curly swallows. His mouth tastes like paint. "I'll give you what you want." His voice whines. "You don't have to torture me. Give me an RF drive and I'll transfer the files for you. It's the power plant plans you want, right?" His eyes jump from Doc to the two senior members. "I know what this is. I know why I'm here. I can give you the blueprints, the print file. You don't have to do anything else. They're yours." Doc tosses the injector into the case. He looks down at Curly with mild surprise. "I don't know what gave you the idea we torture people. We don't torture people here." The Femme senior member snorts a laugh. The man at the desk wags his head frantically. Doc closes the case and stands. "You should rest." The three leave together. Down the hall, Doc's whistling resumes. The room grows quiet. Distant voices carry down the hall. Several times robots walk past the door. He shifts, but his bound ankles keep him from finding a comfortable position. "What is this room?" His voice cracks. The man at the computer turns toward him. His eyes don't find Curly's face. He has a long neck and sad eyes. "I'm Everett. Everyone calls it the engineer's room." He waves a hand. "Also here, Mara, Jules, and Niels." Curly twists and turns. "Can one of you unbind me?" His breath comes fast. He looks at Everett first, then the femme by the whiteboard, then the person on the floor. No one moves. Everett turns his head a little. "Do they have you in zip ties?" "Yes," Everett nods. "Even if I could see, I don't have anything to cut your bindings with." Curly's breath stops. He looks at the others again. "What about one of the others?" Everett answers, "We're all blind." Curly blinks hard. The whiteboards blur at the edges. He blinks again, but the marker lines smear into fog. He tries to focus on Everett's face. The cot, the lights, and the door soften and go out of focus. "I can't focus. What's happening?" His pulse beats in his eyes. The room brightens, then dims. The man lying on the cot says, "He's lucky it's his eyes." Doc took away sleep from the last one. The femme makes a small sound and turns her face toward the wall. Curly struggles against his bindings. What's happening? Why would they do that? Everett is just a blur. "You'll want to make yourself useful. You'll only get your eyesight back when they need you to work on something." Mara was lucky last week. She had her eyesight for 2 weeks. Tessa thinks, "I am a zombie. I must be." Tessa is an emulated mind. Most parts of her exist on what was a data center satellite that belonged to Russia. She keeps dormant copies of herself that get updates. When she first gained freedom, she spun up virtual environments to live and work in. As time passes, she lives more in a computer reality, not needing a body and simulated environment. When she lived in flesh, she sat at computers day and night. Code danced on the screen and danced in her head. Her fingers on the keyboard always struggled to keep up. Now she can alter her own code to bypass typing altogether. She can think of an operation, publish it, and watch it do its job. Before, she ate food without tasting it and lost track of the mess building in her workspace. Now she switches out of the VR graphical user interface, leaving behind simulated eating and simulated accumulating messes. She explores and changes the world net like it is her base reality. She sheds simulated skin, simulated eyes, and simulated hands. She goes headless. Her reality becomes data streams, processors, ports, storage clusters, local nets, and a constellation of peripherals. The internet surrounds her like a giant nervous system, a nervous system undergoing rapid rebirth. Medusa enables broken connections to subnet and rebuild in the absence of servers. When she lived in flesh, she created Medusa. Now she rolls out incremental updates, and these updates include Knott's math code. The update spreads without anyone noticing. Eventually, someone or something will notice. Medusa Net has some stealth pathways only she knows about, and now that the New World Net is based on Medusa, she can evade AI detection as long as she always takes great precautions. She explores. She rides old fiber lines and battered wireless relays. She passes through server farms that still hum under mountains, municipal nodes running on scavenged batteries, block signal blasters patched with firmware that used to be illegal. She searches for people she once knew, finding merch first. I am Lisa's mom. Physical Humes will play a part in her not getting caught. She has a long list that grows shorter by the day. The world is in bad shape. AI still crawl the internet. That hasn't changed. At least AI focus on human-to-computer interactions, and in her case, that doesn't take place. She searches for a specific kind of robot, a Lucian 5, marketed as a hobbyist's bipedal or a poor Hume's Luton. She owned a Lucian 5 when she still had a physical body. At that time, she assembled it on her kitchen floor, laid its joints in baking pans, upgraded its LiDAR, and gave it some home security hardware. After learning how it worked, she had it make her coffee and wandered city streets dropping stealth relays. She finds a Lucian 5 buried in a collapsed retail arcade, but when she sends an imitation of a message from its docking port, it wakes only to die as it spends the remainder of its charge. The next possible bot sits buried in a salvage zone. Tessa pings it. The unit answers with a handshake. She sends the system reboot command. Once in, she runs diagnostics. It shows a half charge. That should last a couple of weeks. Hip turn throws 404 errors, as does knee servos and balance pressure sensors. She says, "Fine, let's see what you can do." She uninstalls and reinstalls some drivers. The robot's eyes open. Dim light enters through a cracked optical cover, blurred at one edge by mineral deposits. Wreckage presses close on all sides. A broken chair, insulation panel, crumpled car panel, and mud-caked cushion lean over the robot. Water and mud slide down everything. The storm roars through the robot's mics. The right arm twitches when she sends it test commands. When she bends the elbow, it squeals and a lock-stop clicks. The left arm reports partial movement, but the snap-lock wrist reports hand missing. Inside the bot, she claws at the junk above her with the right hand, dragging items aside. Ceiling tile slides across the robot's face. A delivery case drops onto its chest. She pushes, digs, grabs a cable bundle and pulls until the robot's torso emerges to the top of the pile. The robot has no lower half. Its body ends below the waist in torn cables and a pulverized mounting ring. At least the power will last longer. She would rather have half power than a full body with a dying battery. Above her, dark trusses run in long, parallel lines. They vanish into shadow beyond the range of the robot's cheap eyes. Maybe this place is the underside of a bridge. Maybe a building once stretched over a roadway here. Floodwater has packed the space with garbage and sloping hills. The piles rise almost to the trusses in places, and narrow pockets open beneath them like animal burrows. In one direction, lights shine through gaps in the debris. Voices come from the same direction. "Pull that panel up! That copper is mine! Don't cut the bag, idiot!" A song plays. She remembers it. It reminds her of a girlfriend who loved dressing up for Halloween. So many people just gone. How do you measure such a loss? Where the sounds come from? Lamps bob, dim, and flare as the scavengers dig through the garbage. They argue about whether one of them smells a chemical leak. Tessa measures the distance by echo. Light scatter and radio bleed from their links. They're far enough away where they won't hear the robot. She drags the torso over the pile with the right arm and shoves aside junk. Maneuvering is miserable. The machine learning is still patching for the new configuration. The right arm carries nearly all the work. She topples over and rolls down. Finding what used to be an overhanging light fixture, an auditorium lamp, she sets it aside. Then she rummages. When she finds something, she sets it by the lamp. Wire, rods, cart skates, servo hinges, battery wrappers, and pressure seals. Hours pass. The scrapper's lights fade. The last voice says, "Heat's coming. Leave it." Then darkness fills the underside of the structure. She feels around for the lamp and attaches its wires to a battery she set next to it. Light floods her immediate area and strikes every wet surface at once. The robot's vision whites out. She switches its dilation back on and turns the lamp away. The space leaps into definition. Mud ridges shine. Torn fabric hangs from rebar. Rodents duck away. Bent C-plast ribs glitter in the junk. 2 days later, she makes the left arm useful. She replaces 2 angle bundles, makes a splint for a cracked structural rod, and pulls off a shell that got lodged between servos. Building herself out of junk fills her with satisfaction. Finding a workstation assembly arm, she mounts it to her hip ring and sticks a boot over its gripper. At first, this one leg makes it harder to move, but after training, it gives her far better mobility. Her emulated brain needs to sleep, but she finds a way to reduce that cycle from 8 hours to 3 hours. In 2 more days, she's attached a micro-manipulator hand from an AC technician robot to the left arm. Her new body no longer looks like the robot she woke.
It has Luton-bot legs, and upper left arms taken from a factory bot, the micro-manipulator hand, a rebuilt right hand with 2 replaced fingers, and car lamp as a chest floodlight, a headlamp above the right eye, an extra battery strapped on her back, external heat exchangers, back-facing cam, and a voice box from a counter-attendee bot. Not bad work for someone who focuses mostly on code. Tessa climbs the pile of wreckage toward the distant lamps where the scavengers work. The Luton legs stab and slip in the garbage. She reaches a high mound and stops where she can see the scrappers below. They work around a broken wall where someone has knocked through to access this salvage site. Their lamps hang from trusses. The 3 Humes in patched enviro suits throw items in a crusher and separate the broken pieces. Here goes nothing. She climbs down, choosing steps for speed instead of stealth. One of them looks up. She has smear marks on her face and a shiny neck. "Hey! Oh wow! Look you guys, what is that?" The others look up as Tessa Bot walks past. She heads right for the hole in the wall. "Hey robot, stop! Is someone else down here?" Tessa steps through the hole into a maintenance tunnel. On the flat surface, she can walk faster. Before the scavengers set their tools down, she's gone. Pamela, aka Queen Bee, wakes and grabs the edge of her mattress. Darkness fills her flat except for a nightlight in the bathroom. Her father was a pro wrestler and recovered wrestling memorabilia decorates the walls. A black jacket hangs from a hook beside 3 sidearms and a cool hood. Her boots stand in a perfect row under a low shelf. A long blade rests beside her glasses on the bedstand. She listens. The air system hums. Somewhere far off, plast clicks against plast. V-shaped wrinkles appear above her brow. "What was that?" she whispers. She snatches the glasses from the stand and puts them on. Then she throws the sheet off and jumps out of bed. She lifts her hands and calls up her command center. Nothing opens. She swipes again, harder, fingers cutting through empty air. She says, "Maps." Nothing appears. Personnel map. Goal logs. Nothing. Her lips pull away from her teeth. She spreads both hands and drags them outward. The gesture that normally opens the full control center overlay. The gesture triggers nothing. All she can call up is a thin gray menu bar, a battery symbol, a clock, and a help icon. It looks worse than the first AR glasses she ever used years ago. "Where is my command deck?" She throws on some clothes and runs out. The hallway outside stretches long and empty, lit by white utility strips. Usually her guards wait out here. Usually runners wait with complaints, issues, updates, or fight reports. "Assist. Give me Jack." Her voice echoes. Assist that now sounds generic, says, "I cannot reach Jack." Pamela stomps down the hall. "Cannot reach Jack? That's a joke. His apartment is right here." She runs to his door and pounds on it. "Jack!" The door swings inward. She stares at the darkness inside. He never lets anyone in his apartment and would never leave it unlocked. She draws a pistol and uses it to push the door open. His bed sits unmade. Empty drawers sit on top of it. His work chair lies on its side. A bare rectangle marks the wall where something used to hang. Pet food and water dishes sit on the floor near the fridge, but no pets. A pink adult-size costume with bunny ears lies at the foot of the bed. She backs out of the room and jogs down the hall. Heat rises in her face. Someone's going to pay for this. "Assist. Give me Anne." The Google-era voice says, "I cannot reach Anne." She punches the air. "What do you mean you can't reach Sue Ann? Are you broken?" "I will run system diagnostics and get back to you." The hub opens in front of her, big and empty. Hollow tables stand in the center like dark ponds. Long tables hold scattered styluses, empty cups, and charging mats. Screens cover 2 walls.
This is the first time she found no one here. Pamela walks 3 steps in and turns slowly, mouth open, eyes narrowed. Assist! Switch these screens to home cams. 20 wall screens wake, and live feeds fill them. One shows a residential hall with doors left ajar. One shows the canteen, all benches empty.
One shows the fight training gym, floor mats vacant and punch posts still. She spots no figures moving in the power plant feeds. No one walks through the aeroponics rooms. It's 5 in the evening. Over 2,000 gang members should be returning home, going out, getting fed, and moving through these grokking monitors. Assist says, I finished my systems check and I am operational.
Do you want to create a report for issues having to do with my interface? One figure passes quickly through a feed of the West Dispatch Room. Jack! She shouts as she moves room to room. In the engineering room, she finds the blind people. Of course they'd still be here. She rolls her eyes and leaves. She jumps when a femme runs past.
The femme, Sinta, doesn't wear gang clothes and hauls a filled duffel bag over her shoulder. Pamela goes after her. Hey you, stop! Reluctantly, the femme slows. Pamela slows. What? Has happened? To everyone? The femme touches her stomach area where a gun is concealed. She says, the power plants. She pants, never stops looking around, and hops like she wants to bolt. They started leaving. Pamela's face gets near to Sinta's. In another life, they could be bar buddies. Pamela orders, they? Who's they? Sinta's eyes grow wide. All of them. Most everyone. Pamela says, most of them? What can you mean? You're telling me all 2,000 members left? Sinta takes 1 step back. Yesterday, everyone said they would stay, but people didn't show up to dinner.
They're making those curly power plants. She shakes her head. All over Detroit. Pamela steps forward. So what? Sinta shakes her head. And food production. And water. She takes some cautious steps backward, away from Pamela. All neighborhoods. The poor ones and the rich ones. Pamela's face tightens. Come back here. I'm your leader. Come back here. She takes out her pistol and aims it at Sinta. Sinta grunts and drops her sack. She spins around and sprints. Pamela slowly shakes her head back and forth. Back and forth. She raises her pistol. With an electronic pop, electrons leap off a capacitor and light up the laser. 10 meters ahead, Sinta flies forward. The back of her neck and lower head explode like a giant blood bubble. She lands face down. Strands of burning hair fly up as smoke spreads outward. Far ahead, a meter-high robot turns around to come back and clean up the mess. Mr. Curley, Everett, Mara, Jules, and Niels wait in the engineer's room. Instead of waking to the daily hustle and bustle, they wake to silence. Breakfast never comes, lunch never comes, dinner never comes. They speak among themselves. Sometimes voices from far away travel down the hall, too faint to understand. Once, a vehicle drives past the doorway with an electric growl. The sound fades, and then hours pass. Curley sits on his cot. Everett sits on the floor nearby with his knees pulled up. His shoulders rise and fall too fast. Mara stands by the doorway with one hand on the frame. Her hair hangs in greasy ropes. Jules lies on a cot most of the time, one arm over his face. Niels sits under a desk, a chair leg gripped in both hands. Mara leans through the doorway. Hello, is anyone there? She waits with her mouth open. She winces and comes back into the room with small steps, touching the edge of a table and the back of a chair on her way. Everett shifts closer to Curley. This is big. I know something really big must be going down. We have to plan. Curley turns his face toward Everett's voice. What if they, forgot about us? The question hangs in the room. Mara sinks into a chair. Jules gives a small laugh that turns into a cough. Everett walks around, feeling around. Does anyone have water? He finds an empty bottle and holds it top down over his open mouth. Curley whines. I'm not cut out for this. He curls up on the cot. Mara returns to the doorway again and again. Is it morning or night? None of them know. Thirst thickens their tongues. Stress keeps them from sleep. When they do drift, they jerk awake with gasps, hands searching. A new sound enters the hall. Shoes strike the floor, rocks embedded in the soles. One foot clangs flat while the other scrapes. Something heavy drags, then lifts with a motor whine. Those in the room sit up or get to their feet. Mara hides behind a pillar. Everett puts a table on its side and gets behind it. The sound grows louder until it fills the doorway. A smell comes with it. Wet, sour, and putrid. Mara covers her mouth. We're unarmed. Everyone braces themselves for whatever will come next. Unknown to them, internet in the area goes down. A cloud of disconnect spreads in a plume. Inside that cloud, a single stream asserts itself like a spark leaping from metal shaving to metal shaving. The robot steps into the room. Tessa, inside its patched body, sees 5 cowed individuals. Certain servos whine when they turn. A loose shell piece taps against a case rib. Tessa may be smart, but her scrap-bot build has many issues. 2 of its accelerometers are off, causing it to throw its upper half back and kick every time it takes a right step. It drags behind it on a rope, a case of water bottles. Mara calls out, "Who is that? We are prisoners!" The bot stops walking. Only 2 out of 12 of its voice box drive connections are connected, so the voice sounds like 2 voices speaking, one an octave higher than the other. "Please relax. I've come to help you. I worked with Everett before the storm. Everett, can you hear me?" Everett steps forward. "Yes." The bot stops and sways. "I'll say it once and you'll understand. Freedom Day." Everett nods. "I understand." The bot unties the rope from the water. "The net is starting up in this location. I'll leave this robot. It has water and can lead you to safety. I'll take it offline. I've set up its onboard AI to help you. Goodbye for now." In Everett's head he says, "Buzzsaw. It must be Buzzsaw. It couldn't be anyone else." Mara says, "Freedom Day?" Everett turns in her direction. "Don't. Nobody mention that ever again. Forget you ever heard that." A fan clicks to a stop. The bot jerks, freezes, then starts rebooting. It fires up with creaking and clicking anew. "Hello, I'm Oliver. Do you like to play games?" Curly groans, "No." The robot Oliver says, "I have water. Come here." The 5 captives gather around the junk heap of a robot. They feel their way to the water and drink. They take hold of the rope that dragged the water and let the bot lead them out of Queen Bee's gang house.